5 essential car services every driver, owner, any enthusiasts must know. Save your engine brakes. Ignoring these 5 basic car services can silently destroy your engine and brakes. If you own a car, this video can save you thousands. Many drivers hear words like oil service, brake fluid, or coolant, but don't really understand what they mean. Today, I'll explain 5 essential car services in simple language, what they do, and what happens if you ignore them. Let's start with the most important one. If this helps you, subscribe for real car knowledge. Service 1, Engine Oil Service. Let me explain. Engine oil lubricates moving engine parts such as crankshaft main bearing, conrod bearing, cylinder wall, piston rings and pin, rocker arms and shafts, to move smoothly, reduces friction of metal to metal contact and highly reduces wear, and carries away heat. What most drivers think of the oil does versus what it actually does is not relatable. They think of, oil is always clean inside the engine, as long as there's oil, the engine is safe. Oil only lubricates moving parts. Dark oil means it's bad, light oil means it's good. If the engine sounds fine, the oil is fine. The actual condition of engine oil inside the engine, oil is constantly exposed to heat, pressure, fuel, and combustion gases. It collects dirt, carbon, metal particles, and sludge. Oil breaks down over time, even if the level is correct. Additives wear out. If you are still satisfied with the video, let me remind you to like, share, subscribe to the channel. There are many information for you to come in this video. Please follow and comment. Before the oil is fully drained, oil can look okay but already lost protection. Reality check. Simple truth, oil is a working fluid, not a permanent shield. Clean-looking oil can be chemically weak. Old oil causes invisible wear before noise appears. High viscous oil does not lubricate the moving parts enough that these parts wear faster. Engine oil service keeps the engine lubricated and prevents wear. Without clean oil, metal rubs against metal, which can accelerate rate of wear or even instant damage of engine moving parts. What happens if ignored? Oil become dirty, and dirty or low oil causes engine wear, overheating, and eventually total engine failure leads to extremely huge cost. How the system works. Let us look engine mechanism, oil flow gallery, and comparison of old versus clean oil. Inside an engine, oil is stored in the oil pan at the bottom and is drawn up by the oil pump once the engine starts. The pump forces the oil through the oil filter to remove dirt and metal particles, then pushes the clean oil through a network of internal passages called oil galleries. From there, oil flows to critical moving parts such as the crankshaft bearings, camshaft, pistons, and valve train, forming a thin lubricating film that reduces friction, cools components, and prevents wear. After circulating through these parts, the oil drains back down to the oil pan by gravity, where the cycle continuously repeats while the engine is running. During a cold start, engine oil is thick and slow to flow because low temperatures increase its viscosity. When the engine first turns over, the oil pump builds pressure quickly, but the oil itself takes a short time to reach and fully coat critical components like bearings, camshafts, and cylinder walls. During these first moments, the protective oil film is incomplete, so the engine relies more on anti-wear additives in the oil, and there is slightly more metal-to-metal contact than when the engine is warm. As the engine continues to run, heat from combustion and friction warms the oil, allowing it to thin out and flow properly. This improved flow creates a stable hydrodynamic oil film that separates moving metal parts and dramatically reduces wear. Once the oil reaches operating temperature, lubrication is optimal and engine wear drops to very low levels, which is why gentle driving immediately after startup is recommended. Inside an engine, friction and heat are a slow. Over time, they do a few key things. What friction does, let us go dip into extensive explanation for you inside car knowledge. Friction happens wherever parts slide or rub pistons against cylinder walls, bearings, camshafts, gears. Over time it wears parts down, metal slowly erodes, clearances get sloppy, causes scoring and scratches, rough surfaces even more friction, steals energy, power is lost as heat instead of motion, creates metal debris, tiny shavings circulate and accelerate wear. That's why engines rely so heavily on oil. It creates a thin film that keeps metal from touching metal. what heat does, engines run hot by design. But long-term heat has consequences. Over time it weakens metals, repeated heating cooling causes fatigue, breaks down oil, oil gets thinner, dirtier, less protective, warps components, heads, valves, and blocks can deform, damages seals and gaskets, rubber hardens, cracks, and leaks. Heat also speeds up chemical reactions, meaning corrosion and oil oxidation happen faster. Together, friction heat, they reinforce each other, more friction, more heat. Left not managed, this spiral leads to loss of efficiency, lower power, higher oil consumption, and eventually failure. How engines fight back: lubrication systems, oil, additives, cooling systems, coolant, radiators, tight manufacturing tolerances, regular maintenance. Oil changes are huge. If you are satisfied with the details of engine inside and oil function, let me know your comments, like, and subscribe. Service 2. Air filter service. Your engine needs clean air to burn fuel properly. When you start the car, outside air is sucked in through the air intake system. Before that air reaches the engine, it must pass through the air filter. The filter is usually made of paper, foam, or cotton with tiny pores. These pores let air pass, trap dust, sand, insects, and debris, so only clean air goes forward. After filtering, the clean air flows to the throttle bodies, then into the intake manifold, finally, into the combustion chamber. Here it mixes with fuel and ignites to produce power. Why this is important: if the air filter works well, better fuel efficiency, smooth engine performance, less engine wears, lower emissions. If the air filter is dirty or clogged, reduced engine power, poor fuel economy, rough idling, black smoke in some cases, faster engine wear. How often should it be checked or replaced? Inspect every 5,000 to 10,000 kilometers, replace around 15,000 to 30,000 kilometers. If an air filter is ignored and not replaced or cleaned, it gradually becomes clogged with dust and debris, restricting airflow into the engine. Reduced airflow causes incomplete combustion, leading to a drop in power, poor throttle response, worse fuel economy, and rough idling. In severe cases, the engine may run overly rich because the fuel system compensates for the lack of air, increasing emissions and fouling spark plugs or sensors. Over time, a dirty or damaged air filter can also let abrasive particles enter the engine. These particles act like sandpaper on cylinder walls, piston rings, and valves, accelerating engine wear and potentially shortening engine life. In extreme neglect, the filter can collapse or be bypassed entirely, causing serious internal damage and costly repairs. Always check oil level monthly and change oil based on manufacturer. Interval, not guesswork. The air filter cleans the air before it enters the engine. Your engine needs clean air to burn fuel efficiently. What happens if ignored? A clogged air filter reduces engine power and increases fuel consumption. If you drive on dusty roads, inspect your air filter more often. Service 3. Fuel filter service. The fuel filter is a critical part of the fuel system that cleans fuel before it reaches the engine. As fuel flows from the tank, it passes through the filter, which traps dirt, rust, water, and other contaminants. This ensures that only clean fuel reaches the fuel pump, injectors, or carburetor, and combustion chamber, allowing the engine to run smoothly and efficiently. If the fuel filter is not serviced, it gradually becomes clogged and restricts fuel flow. When this happens, the engine may suffer from hard starting, poor acceleration, hesitation, rough idling, and reduced fuel economy. The fuel pump is forced to work harder to push fuel through the blockage, which can shorten its lifespan. The fuel filter removes dirt and rust from fuel before it reaches injectors. What happens if ignored? Ignoring a clogged fuel filter for too long can lead to serious and costly damage. Dirty fuel can clog injectors, cause engine misfires, lead to overheating from a lean fuel mixture, or even cause the engine to stall or fail to start completely. Regular fuel filter service helps protect the fuel system, maintain engine performance, and prevent expensive repairs. A blocked fuel filter causes poor acceleration, engine hesitation, and injector damage. Replacing a fuel filter is cheap, replacing injectors is not. If this video is helping you, like the video and subscribe for real car knowledge explained simply. Service 4. Brake fluid service. Brake fluid service keeps the braking system working safely by ensuring clean, moisture-free fluid. Can transmit force properly. When you press the brake pedal, the brake fluid carries hydraulic pressure from the master cylinder through brake lines to the calipers or wheel cylinders, forcing the brake pads or shoes against the rotors or drums to slow the vehicle. Because brake fluid does not compress, it allows precise and immediate braking response. Over time, brake fluid absorbs moisture from the air, which lowers its boiling point and reduces braking efficiency. If the fluid becomes old or contaminated, you may notice a soft or spongy brake pedal, longer stopping distances, uneven braking, or warning lights on the dashboard. In hard braking situations, the contaminated fluid can overheat and create vapor, causing temporary brake failure known as brake fade. Brake fluid transfers force from your brake pedal to the brakes. What happens if ignored? Ignoring brake fluid service can lead to serious safety risks and expensive repairs. Moisture in the fluid causes internal corrosion in brake lines, calipers, and the master cylinder, leading to leaks or component failure. Eventually, braking performance can drop dangerously or fail completely, putting the driver and others at risk. Regular brake fluid service protects the braking system, ensures reliable stopping power, and keeps the vehicle safe to drive. Old brake fluid absorbs moisture, reducing braking efficiency and causing brake failure. Service 5. Coolant service. The cooling system service ensures the engine operates at a safe temperature by controlling heat produced during combustion. Coolant circulates through the engine block and cylinder head, absorbing heat, then flows to the radiator where the heat is released into the air. Components like the water pump, thermostat, radiator, and cooling fan work together to keep the engine from overheating or running too cold. Over time, coolant degrades and becomes contaminated with rust, scale, and debris. When cooling system service is ignored, coolant flow can be restricted, heat transfer becomes inefficient, and the engine may begin to overheat. Early signs include rising temperature gauge readings, coolant loss, poor heater performance, and warning lights on the dashboard. Coolant controls engine temperature and prevents corrosion inside the cooling system. What happens if ignored? If the cooling system is neglected for too long, serious engine damage can occur. Overheating can cause blown head gaskets, warped cylinder heads, cracked engine blocks, and complete engine failure. Old coolant also loses its anti-corrosion properties, leading to radiator and water pump damage. Regular cooling system service helps prevent overheating, protects engine components, and extends engine life. Old coolant causes overheating, radiator damage, and blown head gaskets. Never mix different coolant types unless approved by the manufacturer. These 5 services protect your engine: oil system services, air filter system, fuel system services, brake system services, and cooling system. Skipping them doesn't save money, it creates expensive repairs. Watch my shorts for quick car tips, and subscribe for the next full guide on transmission, steering, and drivetrain services. And blown head gaskets. Never mix different coolant types unless approved by the manufacturer. These 5 services protect your engine: oil system services, air filter system, fuel system services, brake system services, and cooling system. Skipping them doesn't save money, it creates expensive repairs. Watch my shorts for quick car tips, and subscribe for the next full guide on transmission, steering, and drivetrain services.